Well, I'm keen to get your perspective on the events yesterday. First of all, the fact that the new Prime Minister chose Akeeagok in Nunavut, your territory, for the very first domestic stop in his new Prime Ministership. What did that mean to you? What did it signal to you?
We were very honored to welcome the new Prime Minister. I really felt it was important for the new Prime Minister to be coming right to the Arctic, right here into our beautiful capital city of Iqaluit. Really signified the importance the North has, not only to Canadians, but to the world. So it was great to see the Prime Minister go right back to the original founding members. So with a trip over to Paris, to England, but right here where the first people are. And Heather, I don't think many Canadians know, as the Arctic nation, as strong as we are, we're only able to say that by the purpose of the Inuit being up here to assert our sovereignty. So it's great to see that involvement and that first trip here to Iqaluit.
And making all of those announcements, more than $6 billion, it's not new money that had already been allocated in previous budgets, but we certainly did get new detail on what the Prime Minister and the federal government has in mind with this radar detection system. I just noticed as he was making the detailed announcements that you seem to be signaling your support, subtly, but certainly it was there. We're going to play a little clip from his announcement yesterday, and we'll talk about it further, Premier.
We must invest in Canada's north to defend our sovereignty. Arctic sovereignty is a strategic priority of our government.
So that's just a little bit, but we can see you beside him just sort of subtly nodding your head as he talked about the need for Canada to take more responsibility for its defense and to reassert its sovereignty. For you as someone right there really on the front line of this, how important is it that Canada do so, that reassert or assert its sovereignty in the Arctic?
It's fundamental. I've shared many times. I come from a very beautiful community of Grise Fiord, which is the most northern community. It was created through forced relocation for actually the flag that's right behind me. So when I talk about sovereignty and just really the role and the sacrifice Inuit have made, I really see it from a different lens. I'm really a proud Canadian. I think Inuit have sacrificed a lot for us to call ourselves an Arctic nation. And we've been calling for investments into our communities to assert our sovereignty. And it starts with foundational investments into housing, into modernizing our power plant, and allowing the North to transition into clean, green energy. So the investments into transmission lines or the construction of nation-building hydro projects are something that we've always continued to keep discussing. So it was great.
So let's just talk about that in a little bit of detail, because it was more than $250 million for housing, as you said, infrastructure like upgrading power plants to take Iqaluit off diesel fuel power generation, for building and repairing housing. Those are all the things that you're referring to. Just where do you think that will make a key difference for people in Nunavut?
All the way through. Housing has been really the challenge that you've seen face. There's been a housing crisis for decades. As a government, we've really been making significant investments to really put a dent to that through our Nunavut 3000. And any investment into housing is an investment into the healthcare, the health determinants, the social determinants. So those investments have a direct impact. So with that in mind, we really have been continuing to push for these nation-building investments as well, to start transitioning us to really become the economic powerhouse of the country as well. We have the critical minerals that the world needs, but it requires investments from Ottawa to unlock this incredible potential right across the North.
It's interesting when you speak of the North as an economic powerhouse. There have been 3 party leaders who have visited the North in just recent weeks, as a matter of fact. What does that signal to you?
It shows that we're at a moment in time where we really have Canadians unifying, that the North will play a big role. It really is the future of our country. Hasn't been much investment. You've seen nation building from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast, either through the investments of highways or railways, but that nation building hasn't been complete. And those opportunities are in the North. As I talked about, there's incredible resource potential that we have, but the challenge we've always been faced with was the lack of infrastructure to tap into that. So we really feel there's a moment in time where we have the support of Canadians across, and any investment into the North really is an investment to the South as well, where a lot of these raw materials would come from Southern Canadians. So investment really would benefit Ontario, Manitoba, Newfoundland, right across this country.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about raw materials, when you talk about critical minerals, of which you have so many in the North, of course, these are some of the things that we're discussing in the ongoing trade war and the tariff war with the United States. You have an important place at the table with your fellow premiers, and I know you'll be meeting with Prime Minister Carney virtually, I know, this coming Friday. His first time chairing all of the premiers getting together to talk about the latest in terms of the Team Canada approach in dealing with Donald Trump, his talk of annexation and the tariffs. I'm wondering, you've been there throughout. Are you going to be coming to that meeting with any new strategies you want to share, any new messages? How do you think the Team Canada approach is working so far? What's your perspective ahead of Friday?
Yeah, very much strong Team Canada member here. Nunavut has really participated all the way through. We're very united in that front, and on that, I would like to recognize our incredible chair, Premier Ford, who's really brought us together as well. But those First Ministers meetings are so important. It allows us to be able to share and to be able to have really deep discussions around what we need to do as a country to really build our own economy, to unlock the incredible potential that we have here. And with that in mind, I've been very clear that there's incredible opportunity. There's so much uncertainty around the world, and especially in Canada, but there's certainty here in Nunavut. We have the alignment with the Inuit organizations that identified nation-building opportunities, such as the Arctic Security Corridor, which is the Grays Bay Road and Port, the Akeeagok Hydro Fiber Link, or the Deep Sea Port in Akeeagok. So those messaging will continue to stay, but that we must act quickly and that we must put actual investments to build the infrastructure that we need to diversify our Canadian economy.
Has Nunavut suffered any negative impacts thus far of the early tariffs, the threats of more? Have you started to see any of your companies affected negatively? We don't have a huge trade directly with the U.S., but being so reliant on Southern Canada, any impact on any increase to taxes does jeopardize. We have the highest cost of living. We already have the perhaps one of the most challenging environments to build anything from home to major construction. So any uncertainty that you feel does come up directly up here, but that's where we really see ourselves really being a key player in terms of the incredible opportunity that's here. You have incredible wealth that we could tap into, but it does require the support, and we've been really fortunate to get the support right across this country to see investments to the north, and for us to continue to really push for the expedited investments under the NATO 2%, where we see dual-use infrastructure being there as well. So again, all things that may well come up in the agenda on Friday as you and your fellow leaders meet together with the new Prime Minister in his leadership role now. The leader who for now will be leading Canada in these discussions and debates and fights, really, with the United States over tariffs and annexation and all of the talk of 51st state, for example. I don't know if you knew Mark Carney prior to meeting him yesterday, but I'm just wondering what your impressions of him were. I mean, you greeted him as a fellow Northerner, which was nice, but in terms of the person who will lead this country at this time, in this very critical time of economic and political upheaval, what did you make of the man?
Yeah, we had a very constructive and very productive bilateral meeting. I really felt that the new Prime Minister coming in with Mr. Carney really understood the North and the urgency around wanting to see investment. As a consensus government, we're non-partisan, so we work with everybody. As you mentioned earlier, we've been very fortunate to welcome other official opposition members. But there's a real key moment, I believe, where the North really is a bridge builder in terms of we will work with any government that's there. But my first impression is that it was a very productive and conversation and a bilateral. And I look forward to continuing to build upon these investments that we just announced yesterday.
Premier Akeeagok, what a pleasure to have you on the program. Thank you for giving us so much time, and we'll certainly be covering things when you meet again on Friday. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Heather.